system, me feeling fit and strong. Now I'm ready to work like it on any mission. If you see me forget, Johnny's Pharmacy is number one. Johnny's forget. We cater for everyone. Johnny's forget. The immune system. Johnny's forget. Yo, Dominic is about part of us. Whenever I'm in town and I'm feeling down, I head to Johnny's Pharmacy. They boost me up real quick. Johnny's Pharmacy, leading the way in healthcare. A pleasant good morning to you. It is Wednesday, the 12th of March, 2025. It is such a pleasure to be here with you this morning on Health Vibes. I do hope that I'll be able to make it for the 90 minutes that I'll be with you because, you know, the big man, they say it is, what's his name again? What's the name? The flu. Yeah, we. Okay, I thought it was called Matt was giving it a name. Matt gave it. They had a name for it. I can't remember. Yeah, but I do have the common cold, which has affected my sinusitis. My sinus is really bad. But it is a pleasure again to be with you this morning. My co-host is here looking all springy on me. If you're looking at our screen, we are on a QFM Facebook page and as well their YouTube channel. So you'll be able to see my beautiful Trudy Christian, and I say my beautiful Trudy Christian, decked out in her beautiful spring colors. Looks like real spring. Trudy, good morning.
Carlton, good morning to you. Good morning, of course, to our listeners of Health Vibes. I feel like we are at a reunion episode. It's been 2 weeks since we have been here doing Health Vibes. I've missed the studio of Q95 and I've missed you, Carlton.
Yes.
And Health Vibes, of course, I am emerging from the big flu that
Yes.
you are struggling to name. So I had to dress accordingly. Like when you rise from the froze of the froze of what seems to be death, you have to look the part. So I'm here bright this morning, and Carlton, you are bright as well. So I don't know if you will hit as hard as I was hit. But the lash that I got, I had to emerge from it, with color and jubilation and joy. So I'm here this morning. And of course, as I said, happy to be here.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the name, World Boss.
That changed after the season
changed.
because the trending term after the season was with him. So the flu had to take heed and change the name as well.
All right. Again, just reminding you to get prepared for our national wellness 5K run. We are on. People are already calling in and excited about this year's run. We are running on the 26th of April. That is a Saturday. It's our run. It's our 5K run. We are running this year for cancer, and that is all types of cancers, irrespective of which type of cancer that you may have had or a family member of yours would have had. Even if you've had a family member that may have succumbed to cancer this year, this is the disease that we are running for to raise funds for the Dominica Cancer Society. All we ask you to do is make a contribution of a minimum of $25, and be part of our big run. This is the biggest run held each year, and year after year, our population is growing and growing and growing. This year, we expect it to be very colorful because I think each type of cancer has a different color. So whichever cancer that you want to represent, you can wear that color. You may have had a shirt from the Dominica Cancer Society. You can wear that shirt because we will not be printing shirts. Again, if you choose to maybe sort of personalize your shirt, you can do so. So you can maybe put the name of a loved one or loved ones or friends that may have survived cancer or succumbed to cancer. You can put that on a shirt and join us on that run. We will start the run at 4 p.m. on the 26th of April We will be beginning at the Kinfield, Master Kinfield Government School. That's where we start the run from the Kinfield, Master Kinfield Government School, rather, and we end at Lindo Park. So that takes us just a little over 5K, and we go straight ahead through Pottersville up to Federation Drive and into the Lindo Park. When we get there, we normally have refreshments, we normally have some light exercise, some light address. Usually, the Minister of Health is generally present, and he normally give an address and so forth. And yeah, so that's what we're doing this year. I expect to see Trudy there. Trudy will walk. I mean, you if you can't run, you can walk. I know the bikers normally come with their bicycles and they do that, the back and forth, making sure that they assist people. They almost act as office aid. So again, the National
Mm-hmm.
5K run is on Saturday, April the 26th, 2025.
Mm-hmm.
Let me as well say congratulations to the big winner of the American Fresh promotion.
Yes.
And this person won a fully loaded automatic washing machine, and it went to Kushnell Esprit of Sylvania. We want to congratulate you for your win and, more importantly, for buying American Fresh detergent.
Mm-hmm. Carlton, I was grudging, that I did not win, but congratulations to the winner. That is a good win. Fully automatic, fully loaded automatic
Yes,
washing machine, and of course she can use her America Fresh products in that washing machine
definitely.
and have herself some good clean laundry all the time. I must admit I was a little jealous, but that's okay.
And that's the second machine that American Fresh has donated. And
Okay.
so you want to thank the people of
Okay.
American Fresh for always supporting the brand and making sure that America Fresh remains the signature laundry product in Dominica.
Mhm.
Truly, this morning we do have a very important topic.
Yes.
Tomorrow actually is World Kidney Day. That is March 13. It's
Mhm.
World Kidney Day, and the theme this year is Are Your Kidneys Okay?
Okay.
Are your kidneys okay? Detect early, protect kidney health. So that's the question we need to ask each
Are your
other.
kidneys
Are your
okay?
kidneys okay? When last
Mm-hmm.
you thought of your kidneys and you
Or,
checked it out?
or do you even know where they are, what they do, and how
That's it.
important are they? So, a very good question to ask.
Very good
Very
question.
good question to ask.
Particularly after the festive season where many of us had 1, 2, 3, 4,
Mhm.
7,
Mhm.
9, and 12.
Right.
Drums,
15.
15. And we're not talking about ammunition here, we're talking about GOG. So we know that alcohol does affect the kidneys. And so this morning we will be focusing on kidneys, and we will be crossing over as well to include dialysis care.
Mhm.
So, Trudy, we're going to take a break and then
Yes,
introduce our
we'll
guest.
take a break and then we'll come back to introduce our guests. If people are looking at us on social media, they've already seen that we have guests in studio. But for those of you listening on the radio, after the break, you'll find out who we have with us right here in the studio of Q95.
Who say health cannot have vibes? Well, Jolly's Pharmacy is proving you otherwise. With Health Vibes, every Wednesday morning on Q95 from 10 a.m. to 11:30. Health Vibes, education, information, and a bit of humor. And not forgetting lots of vibes. Hosted by Carlton Langdo with co-hosts Jacinta Fagan Depot and Trudy Kristen. Jolly's Pharmacy is bringing health and vibes together every Wednesday, so be sure to tune in. Health Vibes every Wednesday on Q95 from 10 a.m. to 11:30. Jolly's Pharmacy, leading the way in healthcare. Smiling, feeling risky. I had the intentions to call it sick, but I end up in Jolly's pharmacy. And don't think I treat Jolly's fix up my immune system. Me feeling fit and strong now. I'm ready to work like it's on any mission. If you see me again, Jolly's pharmacy is number one. Jolly's for you. We can't talk for everyone. Jolly's for you. It's up the immune system. Jolly's for you. Yo, Dominic, it's about Father Box. Whenever I'm in town and I'm feeling down, I head to Jolly's Pharmacy. They boost me up real quick. Jolly's Pharmacy, leading the way in healthcare. Who say health cannot have vibes? Well, Jolly's Pharmacy is proving you otherwise. With Health Vibes, every Wednesday morning on Q95 from 10 a.m. to 11:30. Health Vibes, education, information, and a bit of humor. And not forgetting lots of vibes. Hosted by Carlton Lango with co-hosts Jacinta Fagan Defoe and Trudy Kristen. Jolly's Pharmacy is bringing health and vibes together every Wednesday, so be sure to tune in. Health Vibes every Wednesday on Q95 from 10 a.m. to 11:30. Jolly's Pharmacy, leading the way in healthcare.
And we are back with you. Of course, this is Health Vibes. And as promised, we are going to bring to you today a topic of much importance, much interest, I would say, and something that you really would need to be tuned into. So let me just encourage you, as I always do, if you're listening to the program, to share the program, especially if you're logged on to social media, the Q95 FM's Facebook page or the YouTube channel. Share with a friend, because we're about to have a discussion that people are definitely needing to listen to. So World Kidney Day tomorrow, March 14th, and we have decided today on the program to highlight the kidneys, the functions, and what it is that we need to be looking at. We do have with us two guests in studio from the Dominica Dialysis Association. We have the president of the association with us, Mr. Richard Blaise, and the vice president of the association, Mr. Hamad Gist, with us this morning. Gentlemen, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, and I mean, you all are with us. I think without even going further, I want you all to let us know about the association that you represent, the Dominica Dialysis Association, and why it is that you felt it important and necessary to be here with us this morning on the eve of World Kidney Day to have this discussion with us.
Yes. Good morning, everybody, all listeners. My name is Hamad Gist. I'm vice president of the association, also a dialysis patient. So we, the patients, realize that together we are stronger, and together we can support each other through the ups and downs of the dialysis treatment process. As you know, it's a condition that not every day you feel your best. So we thought it quite necessary to form an association whereby we can lend support to one another and also to educate the public on kidney issues, dialysis, the entire process and what it entails, because other people are ignorant of dialysis and what it actually means to be on dialysis, and limitations and and so forth. So we thought it necessary among ourselves as patients to form an association whereby we can go out there and educate the public, like today, to come on your station. Thank you very much for inviting us again, so that we can prevent more people from ending up where we are right now on dialysis, because it is not the end of the world, but it is not something I wish on anybody, honestly. So, it entails a lot of your time, 3 times a week, to get treated and stuff. So we are here to answer any questions that the ordinary person might have regarding our condition and how to not get there. And if you are heading there, what maybe you can do to take another path and get yourself back in good health. Yes.
Mr. Blaise?
another thing is that can be a very family taxing. In my short time while on dialysis, and I do say short, even if it might seem like I've been there for a little while, but compared to some of the other people, I can say that I've been here for a very short time, and I have noticed that it can be very family taxing. It can drain a lot from the family, and if you do not have that family support, it can pull a lot away from the patient himself, not to have that support coming from the family. So having that support from a group can also be like a pillar to give you strength when you come to your sessions. So like one of our patients actually says, coming to her sessions is actually where she feels at home.
Wow.
And actually she said that yesterday, and I just smiled when I heard that, because it's rough for me to see a patient looking sad to leave the hospital to go home, where you should be happy to be going home. You're sad to be going home. But that's how it is for now. So.
Let me ask you guys, is it only patients on dialysis that form part of the association, or is the association open to other people as well?
No, it's open to everybody.
It's
we
open
have
to
members, patients. We have members who are patients, and we have members who are not patients.
Okay.
Nurses, we have nurses on the association as well.
Okay.
On the executive. We also have a lot of help from Yvonne Alexander from Cancer. She was phenomenal with us, helping us start up and giving us guidelines as to constitution, and every time we end up in a crossroads, she's usually the one we ask for guidance, because she has gone through it and all that. And I myself, being a police officer, I knew her from the force, so I know she's a very strong, independent woman. So I really admire her. She's not a recruiter in the police force. And we also have some, we also encourage the patients who are not able to join the association actively, or those who are members and not who are active, cannot be active. We also encourage them to ask their family members to take an active role, and to, to come up and, take an active role in the organization, because it is to the benefit of everybody.
Right.
And so we encourage as many people as possible. If anybody out there they have anything to offer, any advice, any whatever it is, please step forward. Don't be afraid. We are welcome any and everybody. We are very welcoming of any and everybody. We need the help. We need the help. Quite honestly, we need the help, because we both, I have a job and I have dialysis, and I have the association, and I have a family. So you can imagine how my time is spent. So we need all the help we can get, and we open to anybody who wishes to chip in, and whatever you have to offer. Accept it.
And there are people out there with the skill set to assist with organizations. So that's a good call that you're making out there. Anybody that is able to give some of their time to be a part of the Dominica Dialysis Association, as Mr. Geese just said, the Vice President just said, they welcome you to join their efforts.
And I truly like that. Actually, last year we ran for kidney failure.
Yes, I remember.
And it was a very good initiative. They received quite a bit of money from the run, and we're happy to have you guys here this morning, because generally when people think of kidney failure, oftentimes they think of the older person.
Yes. Yes.
Or they think that you may have been an alcoholic, or you may have been consuming some type of drug that caused your kidneys to fail. Walk us, maybe one of you can share your own story as to how you end up being on dialysis.
Boy, I was 26 years old in Cuba, getting my degree in chemical engineering. I was just about 3 years shy of graduating. And it was my birthday. I'll never forget that. And then severe headache. And I thought, what's causing this headache, no boy? Well, Cuba medical is free, so we just went into one of the military hospitals nearby, and pressure was very, very high, and then doctors were panicked because they could never see a pressure that high, and then the high the way my pressure was, I was supposed to be dead dizzy. So like it must have been that my pressure has been high for a while, and I've not been observing it. Although I've been checking my pressure, but the pressure just shoot up and then wasn't going down. Anyway, I was rushed to the ICU. I spent like 4 days in the ICU, and my 4th day in the ICU, people dying left and right next to me, and I imagine at 26, and my family is back home. It's me alone in Cuba. Like, it's rough. So anyway, I survived, and then I was diagnosed with chronic kidney failure, stage 4, almost stage 5. I was told that I am not yet on dialysis, but eventually I would have to be on dialysis if I don't get a kidney transplant. So then my parents came up to Cuba. I think they spent 2 months in Cuba with me. The pressure subsided, they got it under control and all that. And then they went back to Dominica, and I was told that I might be able to complete my degree before needing dialysis or the transplant. Unfortunately, a year after, I got worse. So then I was told in Cuba, either I start dialysis or I get a transplant. As a police officer, thankfully, the government of Dominica, I was able to afford the transplant. So my father donated, and I had a transplant in Trinidad. That was 2012, yes, 2012. I graduated, I went back up, graduated and all that, did my thesis and all that, and I came back to Dominica, started working as a police officer again and all that. Unfortunately, just before Maria, in fact, the same weekend Maria was coming, I traveled to Trinidad, got my kidney started acting up again. And then I was diagnosed again with kidney failure again. So I was in Trinidad, kidney gone, and Maria is ravaging Dominica. And I have no idea if my parents are alive or dead, no communication.
Wow.
It was just no support. It was just, that was the worst. Anyway, I survived that, and my parents were okay, but it was okay on my family side from Maria. Unlike Erica, I'm from P7, so we also had Erica where I lost a lot of cousins and so on. So then, I started dialysis from that time. The first time I was sick, I did the transplant. I didn't do dialysis, but the second time I started on dialysis. So I've been on dialysis since then.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is my story. So how I ended up on dialysis, I believe it was the high blood pressure. It was high blood pressure, unsuspecting high blood pressure at a
So even after you had the transplant and you were doing well, you were still hypertensive and your blood pressure was still spiking from time to time?
Yeah, well, I was still a bit hypertensive, partly because, also when you do a kidney transplant, that is not a bed of roses neither, because when you do a kidney transplant, then you have to take anti-rejection drugs, you have to take prednisolone, which is steroids. And you have to be on sometimes pressure medication, because the anti-rejection drug itself causes high blood pressure, and so it's like a chain of it's a spiral. So I guess between all that and juggling life, working and all that, I guess my pressure again went off. But then doctors did a biopsy of the transplanted kidney, and they could not tell me exactly what caused it, but they suspected it was high blood pressure. But but the first time I didn't do a biopsy because the kidneys were too small. But the second time I did do a biopsy of the transplanted kidney, and they suspected that most likely it was hypertension again that caused it. So this time around, I'm trying to get the pressure under control, because the kidney is the first one to go. But then again, you have the heart, you have other organs that. So hypertension is the thing to look at. Stress, hypertension, sugar. These are the three main secret killers of our society, especially the Black society, because our people tend to believe that stress doesn't kill. Stress literally kills, because stress causes high blood pressure. Stress might cause you to overeat or overuse too much sugar or whatever, or drink alcohol, which is sugar, and then cause you to get kidney failure or diabetes. So you should always try, my personal advice to anybody, always try to stay free from stress, stay free from eating excess of sugar, salt, and limit the alcohol. And if you do drink alcohol, do like the Catholics do. Go on, or not the Catholics, no, I think the Hindus do it too. Many religions do it. But the practice of taking some days of fasting or purging or whatever you want to call it, where you give your body a break from whatever it is that you love and let your body recuperate. You'll be surprised how much, maybe just 2 weeks, 3 weeks of no rum, no sugar, no excess salt will do to your body in helping your body recuperate a bit. So that is very important.
And that is you've shared some really important information here. I would say, or your life experience is so instructive, because if anybody knows Herman Gist, and I have known him, he's I shared before we came on, my classmate from the Dominica State College, what days there, and I wouldn't say what the days are, but he's always been a positive guy, very always upbeat, always smiling, and you're hearing he's giving advice here about stress. So sometimes, the effect of stress, it mightn't necessarily be on your disposition, but the physiological impact, that high blood pressure that we're talking about, and of course people are aware that we call high blood pressure the silent killer. And so the information you've shared there about that pathway and the importance of keeping our eyes on that, I think is very, very, very important. And I really hope, as I said at the start of the show, that people take the opportunity to listen, because I think this is, this life experience there is critical for other people to be listening to this morning.
Mr. Blaise, currently, how many people are on dialysis in Dominica?
Currently, we have approximately, unfortunately, we have about 16 members right now. Yes, because we have quite a few members have passed on. So we are actually down to about 16 members. We have maybe about double that on dialysis. Maybe about 42 or so people on dialysis. Not everybody are members.
Okay.
So what the age demographic you see? Are you seeing younger people?
It's kind of split halfway, honestly. For a while there was kind of a younger crowd, for lack of a better word. For a while there was a kind of younger age group coming in, but then all of a sudden there's a kind of other older age group coming in now. So it's kind of split half kind of.
Mr. Blaise, I wanted your own story, but I also wanted to know in terms of frequency, both for you and for Mr. Gist, how frequently is dialysis done, and what determines that frequency? So a two-pronged question there, your own story and also your frequency of treatment.
I will take it in reverse, if you don't mind.
Okay.
The frequency of dialysis is usually determined by the doctor.
Okay.
And your condition, unless if Mr. Gist has anything to say about it. But as far as I understand, your frequency of dialysis is usually determined by the doctor, and how badly off your condition is.
Okay.
So one person might have to do 3 times a week. So sometimes, if you're not that badly off, you might do 2 times a week.
Okay.
I don't think there's anybody who does less than 2 times a week.
Okay.
Depends on your stage of kidney failure, because fortunately, because we now have 2 nephrologists on island. Before, you would start dialysis when you absolutely basically need to, because limited resources. But thankfully, the government has, and you have 2 doctors right now, the government has machines right now that we are able now to have some patients come in maybe just twice a week, because their kidneys are not all the way done. So, they can just take twice a week. And then, unfortunately, as the kidneys progress into degeneration, then they might increase to 3 times a week. Also, the sessions might increase from 2 hours and a half, 3 hours to up to 4 hours. It depends on the patient's physiology. If the patient heart can withstand up to 4 hours of dialysis. So you might have a patient that might require 4 hours of dialysis, but then their heart is not.
Yeah.
So you might advise them to take the 3 hours of dialysis and go the diet route to limit the toxins coming in so that you wouldn't need the 4 hours. So the 3 hours will suffice. Where some patients are healthy and they're able to take the full 4 hours and without. I see some patients 3 hours and a half, and they're very frail because some are elderly, so they need dialysis to cleanse the body, but at the same time, can the body withstand 3 hours and a half? Because you must understand the dialysis process itself is an artificial kidney.
Yeah.
What you have is like a cylinder, right? It's like a cylinder. It's like and then you have very tiny shives, which is tiny tubes, and then on one side you have the blood going in, and then you have on the outside with a semi-permeable membrane kind of wall where you have the blood. The blood cannot pass through, but heavy metals and toxins can pass through, right? So the holes are not the holes in the tube, not the whole of the tube, but the holes on the wall of the tube are just small enough that heavy metals and toxins can pass through, but not enough that the red blood cells will go through, or the white blood cells will go through. So the blood gets going through that thing, and then you have the acid and bicarbonate mixture passing on the outside, and through the process of diffusion, pulling out the heavy metals from the blood. So then the blood goes through that process and comes back into the body. So that is dialysis. But in that process, the blood has to leave the body for a while and come back in. You also have the pump. You also have a pump, external pump in the machine, taking the blood through that process and sending it back to the heart. But the heart has to be able to take that pressure that the machine is sending back to the heart. So it's like basically being on a treadmill. If you run the pump too hard, it's like you're working your heart too hard. So then some patients they have to run at a slower pace. So with that being said, the volume of blood that goes through the machine depends on the pump speed and the time. So if you can stay the 4 hours at a very high pump rate, all your blood might get run through and a full clean. But if you cannot take it, or if you don't need it, then you might get 50%, 60% of your blood might be cleaned. But that's enough. It's not enough to bring it back to a normal person level, toxins. But it's enough that your toxicity is enough that you can go out there and live a normal life.
Okay.
Because you have a range of toxicity for a normal person, I think it's up to 2. And then you have dialysis patient, and then you have extreme toxicity where you start to get the effects of, feeling terrible. So you want to be within a range in that pocket of feeling all right, So that is where the doctor comes in to manage all these things, also manage other conditions that the patient might have, like diabetes and cholesterol. So you need the doctor there to advise you as to how many days, how long, what pump speed, what other medications, when to take it. A lot goes into it to have an overall health on dialysis.
Well said.
Yeah, very complex process.
Yes, it is.
So you're back to Mr. Blair.
Yes, back to Mr. Blaise and your own, story of how you ended up getting on dialysis.
Actually, my father was on dialysis. So I was actually living a life trying to avoid getting onto dialysis. I was having a diet, no salt, no sugar, everything. But like Mr. Gis, my pressure was just uncontrollable for some reason. I just couldn't control my pressure. And it got to the point where one morning while I was at work, I passed out. And when I opened my eyes in the hospital. And I was told that they had to check my kidneys. So I was like, it's impossible. It can't be my kidneys. Because I do everything to make sure that I do not have kidney issues. My father was a dialysis patient. When the nephrologist came and talked to me, she told me she had to run some tests, get back to me. She told me she had to do a funny test. I had to drink a gallon of water and then urinate the gallon of water to see how much water I would urinate. and then in 24 hours, I couldn't urinate.
Wow.
The gallon of water. And that day, I just sat down and I just cried. And then that meeting was one of the toughest meetings I had. And the funny thing is, they told me to drink coconut water
Wow.
and do all kind of things.
Yeah, you can't have potassium. It's going
to do all kind of things to get my kidneys going and to get. But anyway, now that I know, and that's why the association is very important, because after forming the association with Mr. Gisson, we have that information and we can pass it on.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And I mean, I'm listening to both stories, and one of the things that I am picking up is the psychology that comes with a diagnosis like this and the prognosis of it. Having to live with a chronic non-communicable disease like end-stage kidney failure, and having to still be functional, be a husband, be a breadwinner, and be almost like normal, but yet still you have to go through all of that. In terms of your association and even your own stories, how have you built fortitude in terms of your own psychology, how you process all of the ups and downs that you experience, and what advice would you give even to someone who may have end-stage kidney failure but is not a part of the association and is going through a lot of depression or stress? Because I know depression and stress are very, very common, particularly with the management of this condition.
First thing, you have to find God. I'll tell you that straight. You must find God. I've always been somebody who has been a believer in God, but I haven't been the best believer in God. So it kind of pushed me in my little hole, pushed me in my little corner, and forced me to look at my options and say, hey, listen, I know everybody's got to die, but look at this. I am facing a situation where tomorrow I could get up and get into a car accident. Yeah. But it's very likely that I might get up tomorrow, go to dialysis, and die on a machine. So I have to put things straight with God. So I put things straight with God. Honestly.
And you mentioned earlier on to the support, the importance of family support and friends and so forth, because it's not something that you can just deal with on your own. Because as we said, with kidney failure, there are many complications that can pop up from time to time. And even after you would have gotten a donor, there's still complications that could occur.
Yeah.
Like with Mr. Giss, yes.
Like Mr. Giss,
Mr. Giss is very strong.
Yeah. Mr. Giss said.
Mr. Giss is very strong, because let me tell you, I'm not sure if I could go through what he went through and keep going and try again. I'm not sure, honestly. He's very strong. No, you're laughing. You're a strong man.
In reference to, because I will you ask something?
No, go ahead.
Okay. In reference to fear, because there are many people too, when they hear of dialysis, they become afraid. They're just nervous. My mom had a friend who, similar story, her blood pressure just wasn't being controlled, and then she was hospitalized and then had to be placed on dialysis. And even before the fistula was placed in, she got a heart attack and died.
Wow.
She was just so afraid of that she hadn't even seen the machine yet, but just was so afraid of the process that she just gave up. So we see fear becoming a major factor. How does your association alleviate the fear that people may have because of misconception or misunderstanding of the process?
How does it try to alleviate the fear?
Yes.
I think the proof is in the pudding.
Mm.
Most patients who come on dialysis, when they see me, they say, "You on dialysis?" I say, "Yes." "Why you come at work? Why you on dialysis then?" I say, "No, I work. Either I work and dialyze, or I dialyze and I go to work and I go home to my wife and I have a son and I start telling them, my lifestyle. That does us. Most of them, that does us have them take a step back and say, "But what am I afraid of now? Mister, living a full life and you're on dialysis." So I think fear is lack of knowledge. Knowledge is power.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of people fear what they don't understand and what they don't know about.
Mhm.
So that is why we try to come on these programs to educate the public
Mhm.
and make them be aware that dialysis is not a death sentence, it's a condition. The same way people, like right now, because of high blood pressure, for example, high blood pressure is so rampant in Dominica, and more people know about it. So if you not have high blood pressure now, you don't go in a full panic. You just say, "Okay, I'll take my medication," because there's knowledge about it, because it's more common. So I think the same thing should be said for dialysis. That if we can spread the knowledge of dialysis, then somebody who is diagnosed with kidney failure will have not the same reaction, but quite possibly a similar reaction to having high blood pressure. That, okay, I messed up, or maybe I was dealt a bad hand or whatever. But there's a life still. I'm still alive. I'll have to do what I have to do. Come for my dialysis, take my treatment, and live my life as best as I can. So that is what we try to do: educate the public to eradicate the fear because of lack of knowledge.
I like that, because as you like you describe, for instance, how the dialysis machine works. You explain the filter so you understand what's going on, and so you can accept it, without the level of fear and uncertainty that someone who maybe doesn't understand it as clearly. So that is what we really need to
Yes,
do.
I had
Help
to
people.
understand it because I'm a
Yes.
scientist. So
Yes. Help people, to understand. But you mentioned lifestyle, and I wanted to ask, what then are the changes that you had to employ as it relates to your lifestyle when you of course got that diagnosis and now you are on dialysis? What sort of lifestyle implications did that have?
Oh well, too much of anything is good for nothing.
Mhm.
Literally, even water,
Mhm.
right? And even if your kidneys are healthy, there's also water toxicity, even for a normal person, right? Now, on dialysis is even worse because most of us are not even urinating, or urinate very little. As Mr. Bless was saying, he could not urinate the liter of water, right?
Mhm.
So that's what happens where the kidney starts shutting down little by little. Filtration slows down, and first filtration slows down, so you still peeing, but you're not filtering anything, and then eventually the amount of urine slows down. So whatever you drink stays inside of you until you end up on the machine, which takes it out. So part of the process of dialysis is not just removing toxins, but also removing excess fluid. That's why people who have kidney failure, your foot will swell, right? You see swell on the foot, because that means the water they're drinking, they're taking in, the kidney can get rid of it. So some is staying back. So water intake is measured. It's vital for a dialysis patient to make sure you take the allotted amount of water doctor advises, or else you can literally drown while you're sleeping. Yeah, I know patients who had to put pillows under their head so they could be more upright, so the water doesn't feel full in their lungs, because you literally feel that water going back in. Yeah, that happened to me early on dialysis. I thought I could drink any water what I wanted like before. And then I learned very quickly that you have to monitor your fluid intake, right? So that is number one. And fluid intake doesn't just mean water, it means any fluid, because coffee, tea, whatever you drink, it stays in there. And then you have to take it out on the machine. And then the other thing is diet-wise, is because the kidneys are no longer filtering, then you have excess accumulation of potassium, of phosphates, of all these different metals, minerals and so on, that are good for you, but in same thing. an excess of anything is good for nothing. So in order to you no longer need potassium, you do for your heart health and so on, but excess potassium will upset, the balance in there and so on. So you get breathless very fast and so on. Then you realize you need to ease up on high potassium food. So on dialysis now, we try to avoid coconut water, cane juice, ripe bananas,
avocados.
Right. So anything high in potassium, high in phosphate like mango, soda drinks, a lot of phosphate. Phosphate will mess up your nerves and all that. So you have to monitor what you eat very carefully in terms of their consistency. So you right now, so you have to become like a scientist. Everything you eat, you have to watch the label or revise to see how much potassium, how much. Another thing again that's detrimental to dialysis patients is carambola. If carambola in dialysis patients specifically, carambola releases a neurotoxin that's detrimental to us. I cannot forget carambola, yeah.
Juice.
Carambola.
Just the fruits.
Carambola fruit.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's detrimental to us. So that is one thing that I would advise patients don't even watch carambola. Don't even watch carambola, honestly. So that is essentially, and of course the protein intake. You limit your protein intake. You need protein, but not excess because your kidneys are no longer there to take out all the byproducts after the process of digestion. And depend on the kind of protein as well, because you have protein from red meat, for example, like beef and so on, that has a lot more byproducts, than just the protein. So you want to get a simpler from like a fish or white meat that has just protein and just an allotted amount as well. And stay away from stuff like crab and shellfish, all these crustaceans and so on. They have a lot of toxins in them, a lot of toxins. That's why some people are even allergic to crustaceans, because their body cannot deal with toxicity. Also to milk. Almost all dialysis patients I know have become lactose intolerant. I became lactose intolerant as soon as I started dialysis. Every time I just drink a thing of milk there, I feel it. I feel the difference immediately in my body. Yeah, so because milk has a lot of phosphates, and then when they break down in the body. So yes, milk has like calcium, which is something that we need on dialysis. So after we take calcium tablets, but the thing with milk is with the calcium comes all these other byproducts. So like it causing more harm than good then.
Right.
So that is something that you have to monitor when on dialysis. Couple of foods that you have to avoid and stuff.
The diet. What about your physical activity? Is that something you have to monitor as well?
Well, for me personally, the more the merrier for physical activity. The more physical activity I can do, because you see, everybody is different. Some patients, like I say, have heart conditions. Some patients, by the time they end up on dialysis, dialysis is probably their third or fourth condition that they have developed. So most patients end up first with diabetes and then eventually diabetes. So by the time they come on dialysis, more than their heart, other organs are already deteriorated. Unfortunately for me, the only thing that was wrong with me was my kidneys. So I'm still able to do physical activity,
Okay.
I do insanity workouts, I do jogging, I do swimming,
Okay.
But I would not advise that any patient who has not seen a doctor to advise them properly to go and do too much physical activity at once, because based on your personal condition, you might not be able to go out there and do physical activity. However, physical activity helps a dialysis patient because you sweat. In your sweat, you release toxins, you release excess water, and also with a healthier body, a more healthier physically body, your heart is stronger. Like I mentioned earlier, you have to run on your heart gets run on the machine with the pump speed. So if your heart is stronger, then you're able to take, dialysis better. But that would have to come on the advice of a doctor based on your personal
situation. Yes.
All right, let's take a quick break and then we'll be right back.
Cough, cold, sore throat, getting you down? Get Fitzroy mentholated cough and cold syrup for the symptomatic relief of cough, colds, catarrh, and sore throats. Fitzroy Cough and Cold instantly release and can be taken every 2 hours. It is pleasant tasting and competitively priced. Fitzroy Cough and Cold is manufactured in England. Fitzroy Cough and Cold, the relief you're looking for.
Distributed by Jolly's Pharmacy Limited.
Started feeling mistakes. I had the intentions of calling sick, but I end up in Jolly's Pharmacy. They can don't think that Jolly's fix up my immune system. Me feeling fit and strong now. I'm ready to work and pick on any mission. If you see me forget, Jolly's Pharmacy is number one, Jolly's forget. We cater for everyone, Jolly's forget. The immune system, Jolly's forget. Yo, Dominic is about part of box. Whenever I'm in town and I'm feeling down, I head to Jolly's Pharmacy, then boost me up real quick. Jolly's Pharmacy, leading the way in healthcare.
Who say health cannot have vibes? Well, Jolly's Pharmacy is proving you otherwise. With Health Vibes, every Wednesday morning on Q95 from 10 a.m. to 11:30. Health Vibes, education, information, and a bit of humor. And not forgetting lots of vibes. Hosted by Carlton Langdo with co-hosts Jacinta Fagan Depot and Trudy Kristen. Jolly's Pharmacy is bringing health and vibes together every Wednesday. So be sure to tune in. Health Vibes every Wednesday on Q95 from 10 a.m. to 11:30. Jolly's Pharmacy, leading the way in healthcare.
Yes, and we are back with you. Of course, this is Health Vibes. We've been having very interesting discussion here with members of the Dominica Dialysis Association on the eve of World Kidney Day, which is tomorrow, about kidney health and about dialysis. We've been speaking about dialysis quite a bit. I know I see people already starting to call. The conversation has been so interesting, but we really want to get, a little further. Carlton, I don't know if we should take this call. Yes, let's take this call and then we will continue with our conversation. Caller, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Thanks very much for your program.
Good
I
morning.
was going to ask the question about lifestyle and you have brought it up. But another one I wanted to ask is what drugs, some of them we don't even aware, affects your kidney negatively.
That's a good
And
question.
if you use, like say, bananas and those things with potassium, can you balance it with foods with sodium and magnesium? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, caller. So, gentlemen, she was asking what drugs negatively impact the kidneys, and I guess particularly if you are already, experiencing kidney disease or kidney failure. And she also asked about the use of the bananas and the potassium in there, if it can be balanced with sodium. So those are the two questions.
Okay. I'll answer the last one. Potassium is not a bad thing. When I mentioned potassium, I was mentioning potassium in reference to somebody who already has kidney failure. I'm not talking about people who have a functioning kidney. If you have a functioning kidney, then your kidney will filter out the excess potassium. Right? So if you are not on any kind of stage of kidney failure and you eat bananas, you eat, actually your body needs potassium, and then if you look at most research coming out right now saying that we don't get enough potassium because potassium is such a vital part. Because one of the things potassium does, if you look, when you go to the naturopathic doctors or the bush doctors, first thing they'll tell you if your blood pressure is high is go and eat bananas, go and drink jelly water, get cane juice, because potassium technically helps lower blood pressure because potassium and sodium displaces each other in the body and stuff. So potassium is not a bad thing if your kidneys are functioning well. It's only if you have kidney failure, if doctor specifically tells you by doing a blood test that your potassium is a little high, then you would need to, monitor potassium. But if your kidneys are functioning fine, you can eat banana, you can drink jelly water, you can eat cane juice, your kidney is going to give the body what it needs and filter out the rest. Okay, so with regard to potassium, if your kidneys are okay, then unless doctor tells you otherwise, you can enjoy your banana, And as for sodium, same thing with sodium. If you have high blood pressure, you need to lower your intake of sodium. You need to lower your intake of sodium. But if you don't have high blood pressure, if you don't have problem with sodium, then I'm not saying to go and eat a bunch of salt, but you're okay. You're okay. If you don't have high blood pressure, you're not suffering from high blood pressure, your family doesn't have high blood pressure, you're okay. So then you should be very attentive to your body and what your body is telling you, and then react accordingly and diet for your body and your condition. So that's the best advice I can give. That is why it's very important to go to doctor and check up and see what your body is doing, and not just assume, this and that.
Right.
Yeah. So if your body is telling you need to do this, then doctor tell you, oh, your salt a little high, your potassium a little high, and so on. And what's the second question?
The
Shiona?
drugs,
The drugs.
any drugs that will negatively impact.
Alcohol, of course. Alcohol impacts a lot of things in the body. Anybody who is a health professional will tell you alcohol is bad for you. There's no version alcohol is good for you. Of course, other drugs, in terms of pharmaceutical drugs, even the medication that we take to make us better, if you research most of the medications, they will, especially for the kidneys, most of the medications tell you may cause kidney failure, may cause liver failure. So you have to take those medications knowing the risks and so on, and knowing that if you are on a medication, for example, for high blood pressure or whatever, and it tells you it may cause this, it may cause that, then every year you can do a checkup on your kidneys to make sure your kidney is okay, Unfortunately, you might need to be taking that drug, or you have a condition where you need to take some drugs, and you might just have to ask the doctor to recommend another version of the drug or another drug for you if you know your kidneys are not doing well. In terms of smoking and so on, well, everybody knows smoking causes cancer. Right now, we have a lot of people with cancer of the lungs, and so much cancer right now in Dominica. So,
But in reference to the drug too, NSAIDs, the drugs that we normally use for pain, to control pains, the typical ones like, Voltaren, diclofenac, indomethacin, naproxen, these types of painkillers. Even if you do not have kidney failure, we always caution you, because these drugs can actually later on affect your kidneys. If you are on dialysis too, you would want to be careful using antacids, because of the magnesium and aluminum hydroxide that's in there. So the statin drugs that are the ones like we use, Zocor, Crestor, the drugs that we use to control cholesterol. But again, as Mr. Giss is saying, all of these are measured with blood tests, and so your doctor, you may, because for example, you may have kidney failure, but you also have high cholesterol and would need these medications. But again, they are controlled based on what your kidney function, your liver function results are showing. Then the doctor will tailor your dosage based on what the readings are showing. So it's not a one size fit all. It has to be tailored from patient to patient.
Right. Yes. Carlton, I know you wanted to delve into a little bit about the cost
Yes.
of dialysis, the cost. I mean, we've spoken a bit about the emotional cost, the cost of time as well, but the financial cost to the patient, what is that like?
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's very expensive. Very expensive. Dialysis is probably one of the most expensive treatments. I believe it is the most expensive wing in the hospital right now. Yeah. Dialysis is very expensive.
It's quite expensive, right?
Right
Right now, I think it costs about $150 a session.
And that is a subsidized cost.
Subsidized cost, yes.
Subsidized
I think
cost.
the real cost is 150 US.
Wow.
Yeah.
And government.
So the government
Subsidize
subsidizes
it.
Yes.
So it's we're talking about 150 EC. This is the subsidized cost per session.
Yes.
And you may need 3 a week.
And you made it free a week.
Free a week, yeah.
So can you imagine, that what that equates to,
Yes.
and how it puts a family under immense strain.
Yes.
But I know the government has also said to that they will never turn away anybody. So even if you don't have the money to pay for it, they never turn you away.
No. Right now, most patients actually, quite frankly, right now cannot pay. They're like basically almost like for free, because you're asking a patient to pay almost $2,000 a month.
Yes.
And they're not making that, because most patients on dialysis are not working. They lost their job. It's on those who are self-employed and whatnot. Also, too, you have the Epogen. You have to get Epogen is what we use to boost the red blood cells, and so Epogen is also very expensive. So It's and plus you have your other supplements.
Mhm.
But like I said, the kidneys and the dialysis is an artificial kidney. So in addition to taking out just what it needs to take out, which is toxins, it also takes out other stuff that you
Yes,
need, and then you
that's
have to
true.
supplement it orally, like calcium and so on. So it is costly. It is costly, and then a lot of patients have to still those will be very far away, pay the bus to
Mhm.
come down for dialysis 3 times a week. If you live Caribbean, if you live in $10 back, $10 to go and come out, $20 a day just on bus. You might want to buy like a snack because you might feel weak after the dialysis or whatnot. So it is very taxing, very
Mhm.
taxing. Yeah.
I remember hearing, I don't know how to pose this, but I just, a question on capacity. I know you all mentioned earlier, maybe about 32 people are currently on dialysis. My question is, as it relates to capacity for that load, is there the capacity in terms of the dialysis machines for that load? I remember earlier on in my career, there was a thing that, dialysis was really something that was not easy to access because of the capacity that we had. So my question is, is there the adequate capacity for the patients that are there? And I remember always being told, we don't want to get in a situation where we exceed the number of patients that we can accommodate as it relates to being able to provide dialysis for patients. So that is my question. Capacity, where are we at?
Capacity. Currently, we are doing okay. We're doing okay.
Okay.
Not perfect, but we're doing okay because the problem is a lot of these machines need constant repair.
Okay.
And for those listening out there want to donate a machine, please do so. We need all the help we could get. I know the government was trying to start up something in Marigot as well. I'm not sure how that's going. Like dialyzing in Marigot.
People in Marigot,
People
okay.
in the catchment area could just go across, and get the treatment. But currently, we with 42, we are all dialyzing. There is usually two to three sessions sets of people dialyzing a day. Usually you dialyze 3 times a week. So there's a Monday shift and what they call a Monday shift and a Tuesday shift. So some dialyze on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and like we dialyze on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Sundays day off for the nurses.
Okay.
So then what will happen is on like today, you'll have a first set in the morning, usually taking the first 3 hours, whatever, the 3.5 hours already taken, and then by maybe 12, 11 o'clock, you have a change. So by 5 o'clock, sometimes 6 o'clock, that will be the end of the 2 sets for the day, right? And then if needs be, there may be even a third set because of the amount of machines. So then you ration it based on the machines, based on the availability of machine. Like I say, if all machines are up and working, then you might have an easy day. If some machines are giving trouble, then you have to call a technician, and that might, delay things a bit.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is the situation right now with the unit.
So, for example, a patient who is in your situation, who has kidney failure, how do you prepare to travel? If you have to leave Dominica now, how problematic is that?
Like I said, that
challenging
dialysis is expensive. What is the cost in St. Lucia? $500 a session?
No, 150 US a session.
150 US a session in St. Lucia for a session. Basically $500.
Wait, yes, yeah.
Basically $500 a session. So you're looking at, I think in Guadeloupe as well is
Guadeloupe is 150 euro a session.
150 euro a session. But to give an idea, a ballpark figure of what it costs to dialyze in the region. So just traveling in the Caribbean, in America, it's maybe much more expensive. So you have to have that money, or you will have a very limited trip. I would say you would have to monitor your fluid intake, monitor your food intake. So maybe you travel sightsee, but you can't really enjoy too much good food. You
Overseas is pay up front,
And you have to pay up front.
So you'd have to make that appointment before you travel,
Yes.
make all your connections.
Definitely. You have to call and find out what private dialysis or government dialysis they think they have up there, and then if you can get in, and if they have space for you, and when they can accommodate you, and you have to work around their schedule,
right?
And you have to pay up front and all that.
You have to book your appointments and pay up front.
Yeah. So people that maybe take for granted that you can just get up and decide, well, I'm going on a weekend excursion or I'm going for a week excursion. That is not the reality for patients on dialysis.
No, it is not. And there was a patient who went. She went to do something, and she fell sick up there. And I didn't see her for a while. And when she came back about 2 weeks or 3 weeks after, she went, "Boy, I fell sick up there, and money." Yeah, money, because you have to dialyze and then you have to get treated up there, and you cannot travel yet because you're not stabilized. And
Yes.
yeah, so it's taking a chance, because you might budget for pre-dialysis sessions, and then on your food dialysis session, something happens, and then complications, and you have to stay up there longer or whatever, and then yeah, so it's troublesome.
To pay for the ambulance.
Wow.
Pay for the ambulance to come and pick you up. Pay for the ambulance to drop you up to the hospital. Pay for them to come back and bring you up. Everything. Everything is like a private taxi.
So what activities have your association embarked on to raise funds, to have funds consistently being raised? Have you all done any radio phone? Have you ever, what have you all been putting together? Because we're hearing of all this costs, and many of us would maybe want to assist some way, somehow,
Of course, we welcome that. The thing is, with the dialysis patients, most of the patients on dialysis are not that mobile. So it is kind of difficult to organize an activity for raising funds like ordinary groups would, like barbecuing and stuff, because, it kind of limits us. So then we try to raise funds through raffles.
Okay.
So far we have had 2 raffles, Mr. Blaise? 2 raffles.
Actually, there's a food one.
Yes, and now we're having a food raffle. So we're asking the general public out there to please support our raffle. We are currently trying to raise some funds to help the patients with those who have problems with medication and transportation and all the different things. Right now, actually, we're trying to raise some funds for Epogen, right? Epogen.
Yes.
Epogen, because currently there is a shortage in supply of Epogen at the hospital, and so we are trying to raise some funds to see if we can purchase some for members, so to help them out, And as you know, Epogen is very expensive. I think one Epogen is how much at Jolly's right now?
$49 and change.
$49. So some patients take 6 a week. Multiplied by we have 16 members. Yeah. So it's quite a lot. So we're trying to raise some funds right now, and we have a little raffle. We have a blender cup,
pressure monitor,
and Fortune gave us 2 passes for
whale watching
passes, right? So you're raffling this out right now. Also, we appeal to the general public or anybody who think they can offer more to the raffle, so we can have a bonus prize or whatnot, End of the business places, we welcome that as well. Whether it's a day pass to one of their resorts, or dinner, or a shopping,
anything
that can be of value,
make it look more attractive.
Yeah, we welcome that. We welcome that right now. So that is one of the activities we are trying to have right now, and we're trying to have the raffle done for Easter. So we have raffle tickets out right now, and we're hoping that we get support from the general public with that, in regards to that.
So where can people access those tickets?
We actually so have pick them up. I supposed to go and pick them up today.
Okay.
But before we even ask you to share contact information for the association, because I think that's important, I just want to also include that people can make a donation towards the raffle, not just buy raffle tickets, but make a donation towards the raffle. I know people sometimes are looking for a cause. What can they give to? I know this because I raise money for causes. And so this is definitely, from what you all would have been hearing on this program this morning, definitely a cause that if you're looking for a worthwhile endeavor to contribute towards assisting a patient, that is going through this process of dialysis through the Dominica Dialysis Association, is definitely a worthwhile cause that you could, consider. So they will share the association's contact information, but I really hope that we would have touched through the stories that have been shared this morning, people out there to contribute towards the association.
And I mean, even if you do have a little club, you may be part of even some of the schools, they have Dollar Day where they contribute. I know St. Martin's School recently did something like that for the Dominica Cancer Society, where they, the pupils donated $1 each and whatever money that they would have picked up, they donate it to the Dominica Cancer Society. So even organizations, or even if you work for a company and you might decide, you want to really be a champion for kidney health, you want to assist the members of the Dominica Dialysis Association, we asking you that even within your own companies and among your peers in the workplace, you can decide, we're going to do a little something, whether it's pick up a $5 each person, and you make that donation. Because if you think of it, I mean, how many of us, none of us know who is going to be next. And you might say, well, but you can get into an accident and still end up losing function of your kidneys as well, and have to be dialyzed. And so we want to just give you some ideas of things that you can do. Because if we're talking about $150 EC per session, and that's a subsidized cost, can you imagine how many of us can sustain that? That's what, $450
$450 a week.
a week. So most of us will be totally broke. We won't be able to sustain it. And so it's important that we support the Dominica Dialysis Association. I see that we have a caller. Let's take this caller quickly.
Yes.
Good morning to you, caller. Thanks for calling.
Yes, good morning. My name is Alfredo Ducre. I am calling from the Petit Paradis Guest House Restaurant in Waterloo River.
Yes, sir.
And we want to make a contribution to what we call, want to offer a night and dinner for two as a prize for your raffle.
Okay,
Wow,
so
thank you very much.
So, Mr.
Thank you so much,
give me the
Algernon
name
Ducre.
Okay, Mr. Ducre. And
Petit Paradis.
Petit Paradis, Waterloo River.
If you can give us your number, so at least the president can give you a call afterwards, the president of the association. 276
2761
2761
or 285
285
7425.
7425.
One more number, 615
615
5031.
5031. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We truly appreciate
pleasure.
that. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank
And all
you.
the best
Thank you very
on your
much. May God bless you, sir.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right.
present.
Thank you so much.
You see,
Yes, and
we
that is
love
the
that. We love
yes,
that.
and that is the type of community effort. And I know it exists. I mean, I know it exists, and I know the listenership of this program and of Q95 is wide. So I do anticipate that other people will feel so will feel so moved to do what Mr. Ducre has just done and assist the Dominica Dialysis Association. Carlton, we are already over time. I mean, there's so much more I wanted to discuss. I said to the gentleman a little earlier, I wanted to talk so much about the kidneys themselves, their location, what do they do when they function in, regularly and normally and healthily, and how important they are. But we might have to schedule a follow-up program because I think this was very, very engaging, and there is so much more that we could discuss. And Carlton, as I always say too, the continuous education is what we need. Sometimes we touch a topic, we don't have the time to get to everything, but we can continue, with the education.
Well, I suspect
just
you have
take-
Mr. Gee's number, So.
Yeah, let's,
Actually, I don't, but I will take it.
let's take this caller. We may have another donor. Good morning to you, caller. Thanks for calling me, our last caller.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good
My
morning
name
to
is Leila Eugene,
Excuse me?
and I do an excursion, a short excursion for the cruise ships, but also for locals. I'm offering 2 spots as a prize.
What's your name? We didn't catch.
Daria Eugene.
Oh, hi. Okay, so Daria Eugene, cooking with Daria.
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 Yeah,
All right.
so I would like to offer two spots as a prize as well.
So can you give us your number, miss?
My number is 617
615.
5827.
5627.
5827.
All right, Miss Eugene.
Yep.
So the president will call you.
Yes, sure.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you again.
You're welcome.
Yes,
Thank you very
Carlton.
much.
Wow, this is great.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Amazing. Amazing.
11:35
Right.
a.m.
So, I mean, gentlemen, we will really touched by the stories, your personal stories. I love the fact that the information was so relatable. and the language that was spoken was very understandable, that everyone could have sort of empathized with. Um, I don't want to use the word plight, but with
Condition.
the journey,
Yes.
the journey of a dialysis patient. And so we're happy that at least we've gotten two other partners to come on board. Don't be a stranger. If you do want to ever come back on the show, we welcome you all back on the show at any time. And as always,
But Carlton, before we sign off, people are asking for contact information. So we need to give some contact information for the association or for some, a member, if Mr. Geese wants to give his. Because I see even on our social media platform here, people are asking for contact information. So we want listeners to be able to reach out. So what can you all share?
Okay. You can give them my number and your number?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I can give them my number. Richard Blaise, 613-1644. And Mr. Herman Geese. What's your number, Geese?
612-4030.
612-4030. All right. So the president's number, Mr. Blaise, is 613-1644. Mr. Blaise, that number again is 613-1644. And the vice president, Mr. Geese, his number is 612-4030. 612-4030. These are the numbers if you want to get in touch with the executive of the Dominica Dialysis Association.
And we want to say thank you very much for today. Thank you very, very much.
You're welcome.
And we'll be coming back whenever again you invite us.
Definitely.
We'll surely make time to come back and continue the conversation. My classmate there want to talk more about the kidneys, so we can do that.
Yes, I wanted to take Mr. Geese back to class and have him, give us information, the biological information about the kidneys. But we'll do that on another program.
So we're just about out of time. As usual, we always say to you, your health is indeed your greatest resource. Preserve it. Have a good morning, everybody, and continue to enjoy the remainder of the week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Who say health cannot have vibes? Well, Jolly's Pharmacy is proving you otherwise. With Health Vibes, every Wednesday morning on Q95 from 10 a.m. to 11:30. Health Vibes, education, information, and a bit of humor, and not forgetting lots of vibes. Hosted by Carlton Langdo, with co-hosts Jacinta Fagan Depot and Trudy Kristen. Jolly's Pharmacy is bringing health and vibes together every Wednesday, so be sure to